talked about what was happening in his society at the time. This morning, we recall that because the former Jamaican Prime Minister, Bruce Golding, wrote an opinion piece. Let me be very strict. An opinion piece, which is published in the Observer newspaper today. And we got a copy of the piece. And it's entitled in the Observer this morning, Things Fall Apart. And Golding, who served as Prime Minister of Jamaica between 2007 and 2011, 12, he was Jamaica's 8th Prime Minister. In the piece, Bruce Golding pulled no punches. He's not burdened by the weight of office or government. He's not burdened by that at all, as the current Prime Minister, Dr. Andrew Holness, is. So Golding let rip in his assessment and critique of what we have been seeing from the Trump administration and the state of global affairs in recent times. And I note the reactions. A lot of people are nervous. A lot of people are nervous. And what is producing the nervous reactions, the tensions, the call for Bruce to stay quiet? Why Bruce Golding going there? Including on this, our YouTube community channel. A very strong sentiment. Leave it alone on our business. You know what is driving that? Donald Trump's earned reputation of being revengeful and petty and nasty and cruel. That is what is driving that. Trump is a bully. And a lot of people are nervous. And I dare say not only members of the public, but also members of the government here in Jamaica and abroad. But more on that later. Ricardo Brooks has read the piece by the former Jamaican Prime Minister and filed this report on what he said.
Art Bruce Golding served as Jamaica's Prime Minister from 2007 to 2011. Former Prime Ministers are known for usually staying above the fray and being diplomatic when commenting on national or international affairs. But this morning, clearly Golding has had enough. He describes the sitting US president as a megalomaniac whose inclinations are mercurial and virulent. He accuses Donald Trump of endangering the global rule-based order that has been in place since World War II. Golding says Trump has neutered critical institutions such as the World Trade Organization, put the future of the security alliance NATO in doubt, and hobbled the response to climate change. The former Jamaican Prime Minister says by summarily executing people in the Caribbean Sea by military strikes, Trump's America has arrogated to itself the right to be judge, jury, and executioner. This, he says, constitutes a redefinition of the rule of law. Golding wasn't done yet. He accuses Trump of blatant hypocrisy. Golding says although there is convincing evidence that Nicolas Maduro did steal the 2024 election in Venezuela, he wants to know how that's any different from what he pointedly describes as Donald Trump's attempt to steal the 2020 US election. The former Jamaican Prime Minister says Trump's warning that Colombia, Cuba, and Mexico could be next on his radar of intervention amounts to a blazing audacity. According to Golding, Trump is like a raging bull charging through halfway tree, mowing down everyone and everything in its path. He says the silence of the international community has been disheartening. Golding is warning that Trump's behavior is a crisis for CARICOM. According to the former Jamaican leader, no head of government in the Caribbean is safe. He says any of them could be snatched by the United States in the dead of night, just as Maduro was. Golding took particular aim at Trinidad's Prime Minister, Kamla Persad-Bissessar, who has twice publicly broken with regional neighbors in support of the Trump administration. Mr. Golding is warning her that she may soon come to find that the United States is actually the unreliable partner. The elder Jamaican statesman is also warning the people of the Caribbean that recolonization is upon the region. He says the future of the world now rests in the hands of the American people and what they do in the next presidential election. The former Prime Minister ends his missive on a sad note. He says at 78 years old, he was hoping to leave the world better than he found it. He says much of the improvements he has seen in Jamaica gave him some hope that he would go to his grave with some satisfaction. But he says he's now deeply troubled as things are falling apart. Ricardo Brooks for Nationwide News.
Thank you, Ricardo. And as I said, the full article is published in the Observer today. And what has Golding said in this article that is not truthful, fair, and reasonable commentary? What in this piece is not truthful, not fair, and reasonable comment? I think when we react, we must ask ourselves those questions. What has he said in the piece that is not truthful, not fair, not reasonable comment based on observable behavior and pronouncements by President Trump and members of his administration? You know, there's a term that was made famous by a former US president, Al Gore, speaking about inconvenient truths. Inconvenient truths. That's what we have here. What Golding has written are some inconvenient truths, and they're only inconvenient because Donald Trump is a petty and revengeful man. We have not seen the likes of him before. And we will have to make up our minds that one, Trump has command and is prepared to use the awesome military might of the most powerful nation on earth, the United States of America and its military forces. And a lot of well-thinking people will have to look in the mirror and ask ourselves some serious questions. What has history taught us about tyrants, dictators, and bullies. Trump respects only one thing: strength. Don't believe that if you cower in fear and you appease him, you tell him how brilliant he is, that is going to save you. It's not going to save you. He respects power. Hence, his tiptoeing around another tyrant, another dictator, Vladimir Putin. You know, some of us have met some bullies in our lives, especially on the playfield at school. And bullies only respond and respect you when if them kick you, you can give them a bigger kick or an equally forceful kick. Yeah? You have to be able to resist. And I see a lot of people saying, listen, we don't want to take on this. Go check the history of the world. What did we do with the rise of Hitler? Some followed that advice, I see, in the group, to appease Hitler. That didn't save the world from a devastating war. It didn't. Mr. Golding will be joining me at 11 this morning because there's a lot to unpack here. That's at 11 this morning. Time for the break.